My fiancée kept canceling date nights, so I put a tracker on her car. When it led me to a candlelit dinner for two, I took a deep breath, walked in, and said, "Hope you ordered enough for three." Her secret lover spilled his drink, and she looked like she'd seen a ghost. I'm Mark, 34, living in Chicago. For the past 3 years, I've been engaged to Sarah, 32, a dedicated nurse at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. We met at a mutual friend's party in Wicker Park and hit it off immediately. Sarah was everything I wanted: intelligent, caring, and beautiful. After a year of dating, we moved into a cozy apartment in Lincoln Park. I proposed during a weekend getaway to Lake Geneva, and she said yes. I envisioned a future filled with love and happiness. Lately, things felt off. Sarah started canceling our date nights more frequently, often citing work emergencies or feeling too exhausted. At first, I understood. Her job was demanding. But when it became a pattern, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. One evening, after another canceled dinner, I confided in my friend Jake. We've been friends since college, and he's always been the rational one. Maybe she's just stressed with work, Jake suggested as we sat in a local bar nursing our beers. I thought so too, I replied, but it's happening too often. And she's been guarding her phone like it's Fort Knox. Jake raised an eyebrow. That does sound suspicious. Have you tried talking to her about it? I have, but she brushes it off, saying I'm overthinking things. Jake leaned in, lowering his voice. Look, I don't usually suggest this, but if you really want to know what's going on, maybe you should keep an eye on her activities. I was taken aback. You mean spy on her? Not exactly. Just be more observant. Maybe check her phone or see where she goes when she cancels on you. I mulled over Jake's words that night. It felt wrong to invade Sarah's privacy, but my gut was telling me something was off. The next day, I decided to take a discreet approach. I purchased a small GPS tracker online and attached it to her car. I told myself it was probably nothing, but I needed to ease my mind. Over the next week, Sarah canceled 2 more date nights. Each time, I checked the tracker's data. Both times, her car ended up at the same address in a neighborhood I didn't recognize. My heart sank. I had to find out what was going on. On Friday evening, Sarah told me she had to cover a night shift for a colleague. After she left, I checked the tracker. Sure enough, her car was at that same address. I couldn't sit at home wondering anymore. I decided to drive there. The address led me to a cozy-looking house with a well-maintained garden. Through the window, I could see a candlelit dinner set for 2. My heart pounded in my chest. Taking a deep breath, I walked up to the door and knocked. A man in his late 30s opened the door. He looked surprised to see me. Behind him, I saw Sarah, her face turning pale as she realized who I was. "Hope you ordered enough for 3, I said, forcing a smile. The man looked confused. "Who are you?" "I'm Mark, Sarah's fiancé. And you are?" He stammered. I'm David." Sarah stepped forward, tears welling up in her eyes. "Mark, I can explain." I held up my hand. "Save it. How long has this been going on?" David looked down, avoiding my gaze. Sarah whispered, "A few months." I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and sadness. "Why, Sarah? Why not just tell me if you weren't happy?" She sobbed. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did. I was going to end it." I shook my head, feeling numb. "I can't do this right now." I turned and walked away, ignoring Sarah's pleas to talk. That night, I packed some essentials and stayed at Jake's place. Over the next few days, Sarah tried reaching out multiple times, but I wasn't ready to face her. Eventually, we sat down and had a long conversation. She apologized profusely, expressing deep regret for her actions. Despite her pleas for forgiveness, I knew I couldn't continue the relationship. The trust was shattered. We ended our engagement and went our separate ways. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, but I knew it was the right one. Trust, once broken, is difficult to rebuild. Looking back, I realized that sometimes our instincts pick up on things before our minds do. It's essential to communicate openly in a relationship and address issues head-on. While I never wanted to invade Sarah's privacy, I also couldn't ignore the signs. In the end, honesty is the foundation of any strong relationship, and without it, everything else crumbles. After I left Sarah and moved in temporarily with Jake, I was just trying to survive each day. Everything felt like it had collapsed overnight. I couldn't eat right, couldn't sleep, couldn't even focus at work. I'd sit at my desk staring at spreadsheets, just going through the motions. Jake did what he could to help. He gave me space, but he was there when I needed to talk. One night, while we were sitting on his balcony smoking cheap cigars we never really liked, he said, "You think she's still seeing the guy?" I shrugged. "Probably. But I don't care anymore." It was a lie. I cared more than I wanted to admit. Then, a few weeks later, I started getting these weird messages. No name. Just an unknown number. It started with, "You don't know the full story. Ask her about Milwaukee." I stared at the message for a long time. Milwaukee? What the hell does that mean? I didn't respond. I figured maybe it was just a troll, someone who saw my Reddit post that I stupidly made under my real name. But then I got another one the next night. "You think she only lied about the other guy?" She lied about Milwaukee. About the conference. Now I was curious. And angry. I remembered Sarah went to a nursing conference in Milwaukee about 6 months before everything fell apart. She was gone for 3 days. Said it was mandatory, hospital paid. She came back tired, but happy. Told me all about the workshops and new techniques. I didn't want to believe she'd been lying even back then. But the texts kept coming. Ask her about room 428. He wasn't the first. Now it was getting under my skin. I finally broke and texted Sarah. Just one line. What happened in Milwaukee? She didn't respond right away. In fact, it took her almost a full day. Then she replied, can we talk in person? Jake told me not to go. Said she'd just spin it. But I needed answers. We met at a neutral spot, a coffee shop in Old Town where we used to go on lazy Sundays. She looked tired. Older, even. Like the guilt had aged her. When I asked her again, this time in person, her eyes dropped to the table. Mark. I didn't sleep with David in Milwaukee. That was someone else. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. How many? I don't know, she whispered. A few. My hands clenched into fists. You don't know? You lost count. It wasn't like that, she said quickly. I was lost. I felt like we were growing apart. You were always working late, and I was tired of feeling invisible. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So you just cheated to feel something? She nodded, tears in her eyes. I hated myself every time, but I didn't know how to stop. It wasn't just David. It wasn't just Milwaukee. I didn't even have words. My entire body felt cold. But it got worse. She said one of the guys, someone from that Milwaukee conference, had started stalking her, sending her messages, threatening to tell me everything. That's why she tried to cut things off with David, tried to act like everything was fine. She thought if she kept the appearance of a stable relationship, the guy would back off. He didn't. And now I was wondering. Were those texts coming from him? The number messaged me again that night. She's not telling you everything. She's protecting herself. Not you. I decided to trace the number. With Jake's help, we used an online service and tracked it to a guy named Lucas, based in Milwaukee. I didn't recognize the name. But Jake dug a little deeper and found a picture on his LinkedIn. There he was, standing next to a hospital booth. In a name tag. Lucas, Sarah's colleague. The one she never mentioned. I showed the picture to Sarah. She froze. Her lips moved like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out. He's the one, isn't he? I asked. She nodded slowly. He's the worst mistake I ever made. I don't know what this guy wants, but now I feel like I've stepped into something darker. Something twisted. And I have a feeling it's far from over. I thought I'd reached the worst part of this whole mess, but I was wrong. After Sarah admitted to the affair in Milwaukee and confirmed Lucas was the guy texting me, I figured I had at least some answers. That it was finally all out in the open. But things didn't add up. If she was afraid of him, why hadn't she gone to the police? Why didn't she block him? Why was he still texting me? I confronted her about it. She said she didn't want to drag me into it, that she was trying to handle it quietly. Said Lucas was married too, with kids, and he threatened to blow up both their lives if she exposed him. That's why she kept quiet. She swore she was trying to fix everything before I found out. But something didn't sit right. Then Jake came to me with something. He had gone digging a little more out of curiosity. He found a Reddit account that seemed weirdly similar to mine. Same kind of posts. Same story, but told from the other side. The account was anonymous, but it had posts dated months before I ever got suspicious. One of the posts read, my affair partner wants to break things off after our conference weekend. I think she's scared of me. Should I confront her or her fiancé? I felt sick. Was Lucas planning this the whole time? Was he trying to mess with her and with me for months? Sarah denied knowing about the Reddit posts. But the more I looked at the writing, the timing, the details, it was clear. This wasn't just a simple affair. This was something deeper. Someone playing a game. Then it got worse. I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside were photos. Printed ones. Of Sarah and Lucas. At the hotel bar. At the pool. Even one of them walking hand in hand on the beach behind the hotel. But the creepiest one? A picture of me and Sarah. Taken through the window of our apartment. I was on the couch. She was cooking in the kitchen. Neither of us noticed anyone watching. That was the first time I felt real fear. I called Sarah and told her to come over. She showed up pale, shaking, like she already knew what was inside the envelope. When I showed her the photos, she sat down and put her head in her hands. I didn't think he'd go this far, she whispered. I didn't think he knew where we lived. You never told me he was unstable, I said. I didn't know, she said. Not until after Milwaukee. After I told him it was over, he started popping up everywhere. Parking near the hospital. Messaging me from fake numbers. He even sent me a picture of our front door once. I wanted to handle it alone. I didn't want to drag you down with me. I was angry. Not just because she cheated, but because she lied for so long. Because she kept this danger hidden while we lived under the same roof. Why didn't you tell me any of this? I asked. Because I didn't want to lose you. That hit hard. Not because it made me feel sorry for her, but because it showed how deep the lies went. She'd rather let me live in ignorance than face the consequences. The next day, Jake and I drove to Milwaukee. We wanted to find out more about Lucas. His workplace. His home. We weren't going to do anything stupid, just gather information. But when we got there, we found something I didn't expect. His apartment was abandoned. Totally cleared out. Old mail piling up. Someone said he hadn't been seen in over a week. So now I've got a guy who was stalking both of us, sending threats, and suddenly disappearing. Either he ran, or he's planning something. And then the final twist, because of course there had to be another one. came in a voicemail left on my work number. A man's voice. Calm. Confident. You're looking in the wrong places, Mark. She wasn't the victim. I was. She told me you abused her. That you threatened her. That's why she wanted out. I played it back 3 times. My heart sank. Had Sarah lied to him too? Manipulated him into thinking I was the monster? Suddenly I realized maybe Lucas wasn't the only one playing games. Maybe I never really knew who Sarah was at all. The voicemail changed everything. I didn't want to believe it, but the calm certainty in Lucas's voice rattled me. Sarah had told him I was the problem, that I was abusive, that I threatened her. Was that just a manipulation tactic to keep him quiet? Or was it something darker? I didn't know what to think anymore. I saved the voicemail and called Jake immediately. She told Lucas you were the one hurting her? Jake sounded stunned. That's insane. Yeah, I said. And if he believed her, maybe that's why he spiraled. Maybe that's why he started stalking us. If she played both sides, Jake was quiet for a while, then said, you need to confront her. Face to face. Make her say it? I agreed. We arranged to meet at her sister's house in Evanston. Neutral ground, she couldn't dodge or storm off easily. Her sister, Claire, was there, too, someone who had always been on Sarah's side, but who I also knew had a sharp eye for bullshit. The moment I walked in, Sarah could tell I wasn't there to talk gently. I got a voicemail from Lucas, I said. I didn't sit down, just stood there, holding my phone, my hand shaking slightly. He said you told him I abused you, that I threatened you, that you needed help escaping me. Her eyes widened, not with surprise, but with something else. Guilt. Claire sat up straighter on the couch. Wait, what? Sarah, what the hell is he talking about? Sarah looked like a cornered animal. Her face was pale, lips tight. I didn't mean it like that. Then how did you mean it? I snapped. Because either you were lying to me or lying to him. Which one is it? Claire jumped in, her tone sharp. Sarah, did you seriously tell another man that Mark was abusive? Do you know how dangerous that is? I was scared. Sarah finally shouted. He was obsessed with me. He wouldn't back off. He wanted me to leave Mark, to move to Milwaukee, to start over. I had to say something to make him stop pushing. I stared at her, stunned. So you told him I abused you? Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't think he'd believe it. I just needed space. Claire stood now too. Sarah, that's not just a lie. That's slander. That's dangerous. What if Lucas had shown up here with a weapon? What if Mark had been hurt, or worse, because of your lie? Sarah crumbled, sinking to the floor, sobbing into her hands. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she whispered. But it did go this far, I said. My voice was cold now. You told one man you loved him while engaged to another. You cheated, lied, staged a relationship with David to cover up the first affair. And when it all got messy, you threw me under the bus to get out of it. She looked up at me, makeup streaking down her face. I was broken. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted to feel wanted again. Claire sat beside her, silent now. But her expression said it all. Disbelief, disappointment, and something like pity. I turned to leave, but Sarah grabbed my hand. Please, Mark, don't let it end like this. We can fix it. I looked down at her. No, you need to fix you. I'm done. I walked out of Claire's house with a heaviness in my chest, but also a strange, quiet calm. The storm had passed. The damage was done. Jake met me back at my apartment later that night. She admitted it, he asked. Yeah, I said. Everything. He shook his head. Damn. We sat in silence for a bit, sipping beer on the porch like we had so many nights before. Then he asked, what now? I don't know, I admitted. I think I'm done with love for a while. I need to figure myself out. Heal. He nodded. Probably smart. A few weeks passed. Claire texted me once to say she was sorry for everything, and that she was helping Sarah get into therapy. She didn't excuse her sister's actions, but she said maybe one day, I'd understand just how lost Sarah really was. Maybe I would. But not today. Today, I'm learning to live again. Alone. Wiser. More cautious. But still hopeful. Hopeful that somewhere out there, real love doesn't come with lies, betrayal, and manipulation. Hopeful that I'll find it when I'm ready.